Hello, viewers, and welcome to Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And we always do our very best to bring to you persons who are doing amazing works in the community. And also, as they do those amazing works, they do them powered by their spirituality with the intention of moving our community in the direction of light. And as we always tell you, you are part of this conversation. Therefore, do text us on 22232. That's our text message line. Also, follow us on Facebook and on Twitter as we engage today. The Martyr Heart Run. That's something that is a household event, because we, in one way or other, we hear about it, we participate in it, and we are happy to be joined on the Spotlight edition by two passionate persons behind this Martyr Heart Run. And first is Professor Dominic Mwenja, who is the CEO of Martyr Misericordia. Martyr Misericordia. What does that mean?
It's Mother of Mercy.
Mother of Mercy.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So you hear that? Misericordia. And that is Martyr Misericordia. And he, Dominic Mwenja, Professor, is the Chief Executive Officer. But we are also happy to be joined on Spotlight also, as we know that the Martyr Heart Run is mostly focused on children. And we are happy to be joined by Naomi Gashara, who is a pediatric cardiologist. Now, those names, big names, these big names, you know. That is, she is a pediatric cardiologist. Again, welcome to Spotlight. Now, let's start further out, Professor, and thinking about just healthcare in this country. It's interesting because disease is becoming such a big area for people. It's sweeping entire wealth for the rich, you know, and it is making the poor, I mean, just, you can't even imagine it, becoming absolutely, you know, impoverished, if I may use that word. And it is, you know, we are 1963 and now it is 2019. And one wonders, you know, those many years later, you know, like 56 years later, shouldn't we have more confidence in the healthcare system, such that whether you're rich or you are lowly economically, you have access, you know, to what we can call fundamental healthcare?
Yeah. Thank you for the interview, and thank you to Hope TV for giving us this opportunity to really talk to Kenyans about healthcare, and specifically the Martyr Heart Run and the Martyr Misericordia Hospital and the things that we do. When it comes to healthcare, the biggest issue for me has been and will continue to be access. Affordable healthcare. Access to affordable healthcare is the most important thing that we need to be looking at in this country. Because every family is one illness away from bankruptcy. And that we have to be cognizant of. And as we look at how we provide healthcare in this country, the most important thing we should be looking at is, do our people have access to quality healthcare? Is it affordable? And that's why, for me, our UHC, Universal Health Coverage, should really be coined into affordable healthcare, where we make it possible for our people to afford the healthcare that they need, for them to be able to afford to have that access. And that's why you see this mushrooming of quack hospitals and nursing homes all over the place, because they're exploiting the poor. That's the person who feels left out by the mainstream healthcare system. And therefore they have to go to Mogo Wairimu, I think, that was the guy's name, down the street, who is going to charge them, you know, 300-400 shillings without even a proper medical license to actually practice medicine. And that's why, for me, affordability of healthcare is extremely important. And being a CEO on one of the larger hospitals in this country, those are things that we grapple with every single day. And that's why we do the Martyr Heart Run, for example, in order for us to finance heart operations and heart interventions for young children who actually do not have money. Most of the children that we see from families that even raising bus fare to come to Nairobi is a problem. How can you turn around and tell the same parents you need 500,000, a million, $1.5 million, 2 million to do that delicate heart procedure?
And you know, and when you talk about that, you know, clearly it shows the consistent place of what has been called mission hospitals in this country, and they do such a significant work and quite some focused work, like children, for instance. And the Matter Heart Run focuses quite a bit on children.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And heart conditions. Maybe you can tell us, Dr. Naomi, the kind of heart conditions that children are facing in the present day Kenya.
We actually deal with two types of heart conditions. One is what they are born with, which probably we may not have so much control in preventing. Then we have what they have acquired, which is what we refer as rheumatic heart disease. Basically starts from a simple sore throat. And that sore throat can be prevented. And when it is not well treated, just from what Professor has said, going to some of those street hospitals and not well qualified, it then proceeds and damages the valve. It's usually so devastating. You see a very healthy child who, you know, thins up, really gets wasted, can hardly learn. And you know, our children need to pray. When you see a child not playing, something is not right.
Dr. Harry, when you are at that, our viewers are hearing that rheumatic heart disease comes from a sore throat.
Yes,
you know,
it is a sore
that's significant.
throat.
I mean,
Yes.
can you just maybe slightly tell us about the mechanics of that sore throat and why we should take sore throats in children seriously?
Let me first clarify and say it's not all sore throats. Most sore throats are still from viruses. But those sore throats from viruses are the ones you feel like itching, ears, you feel itchy. It takes a bit of time learning nose, but there's that sore throat where you take a child to school and the teacher calls you at 4. This child is very sick, so it comes suddenly, the child cannot swallow. And if that child was to open the mouth, it is red. That is a sore throat that you need to take very seriously and take to hospital. And that treatment should not take less than 10 days.
It's interesting. Most of the people would take, say, just it's a mere sore throat.
Actually, I tell them, gargle salt. That's what we do as mothers, gargle the salt.
Yeah.
So when it is not well treated, it's not that it comes from there to the heart. It's the body fighting itself. So we have the antibodies from that, which are recognized by the heart valves as foreign. So they start fighting. And in the process of fighting, the valve is damaged.
Okay. All
And
right.
it can recur again, the same sore throat. And when it recurs, it hits harder.
Okay. Now, when we're still at it, before we come to you, Professor, one of the big languages we use these days are lifestyle, you know, lifestyle diseases.
Yes.
What's the space of what we can call lifestyle diseases in children and that cardio situation?
Actually, I would say for children, they are at an advantage because they run around. So if they were to eat badly, at least they try to burn it. Not like you and I who will come and sit. Children play aloud. However, for the very obese children, they still start a risk like diabetes, which later affects the heart. It's not common for children to get like the cardiac arrest if their hearts are okay, unlike for adults. But however, we still want them to have the proper diet.
Okay.
Because in future, they are at risk. Yes.
You know, when every time we hear the children and you think scripture, you think the least of this, right? And the Matter Heart Run is really about children who are poor, you know, and they can not be a better description of the least of this. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Matter Heart Run?
Yeah. The program itself started in 1995, I believe. We had the first procedures in 1996. Then after that, it became the Detto Heart Run. which ran until 2004. And then from there, the Matahatran now took over. The main idea for us is to raise enough money every year so that these poor children can afford those heart procedures. And we see a lot of them with rheumatic heart disease, the others who are congenital. Those are the ones that you're born with a heart condition. And we see a lot of children with 1 or 2 holes in the heart. That Daktari here and others go inside and they fix that, and she'll tell you how we do that without necessarily opening the chest. So we can either have closed heart procedures, or we can have open heart surgeries. And we do both.
It's amazing what technology is able to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, when we hosted the First Lady on March 10th this year, she was gracious enough to come and follow up with our Matahatran, because she flagged off our Matahatran in 2018. Then she followed up again to see how we are doing. And she was actually able to go into the theater and experience an open heart surgery as it was taking place on a 2.5-year-old child. Now, that parent was probably being told before, this child has to go to India or to go to other places for some of these complicated heart surgeries. If it's being done in Kenya, it's going to cost you 2.5 million, 3 million. The question is, those members of that poor family cannot afford that. And that's why we do the run every single year. This year, we are hoping to raise about 200 million. Last year, we raised about 147 million. 100 million in cash and about 47 million in kind. I think this year we did about 300 interventions last year. This year, the first quarter, we did 150 interventions, which means if we continue at the same pace, we might end up doing between 500 and 600 interventions this year, which means there's also demand for more money. We still have children who will be on waiting lists as we go towards next year. And that's why we appeal to all Kenyans. For the sake of that child who has a heart condition from a poor background, where they cannot afford to raise the money, even if they do harambees, because you're a product of your environment. That means if you're poor, chances are the people who are around you are also poor. So even when you call harambe, the most you can raise maybe 20, 30, 40,000. And then they're coming and telling you now you need 200,000, I mean you need $1 million. That's totally unimaginable. So we do 2 things. One, the interventions that we do throughout the year, and Daktari will be able to explain some of those. We also do open hearts. We also have some very complicated cases that are handled by our cardiologists, our cardiothoracic surgeons, and also the other experts who come from other countries as well. Each year we have 3 missions that come to work with our doctors. We have a mission that comes from Slovakia, another mission comes from UK, another mission comes from India. Now when you combine those 3 missions, now with our local expertise, we are able to take care of a wide range of complicated heart procedures that otherwise would have had to go to other countries for those operations. Now at Mata, we are intent, and specifically myself as the CEO, over the next 5 years to convert Mata Misericordia Hospital into the cardiac center of this country. And why do I say that? And I do believe in this country, because we are not a very large country, if each of our hospitals, both public and private, was to specialize in one area and they become so good at what they do that we don't have to refer people to other countries for those procedures, we can face most of the bigger problems we have in this country. So if Mata were to do heart, and they become the cardiac center for the country, then another country does oncology,
another hospital.
They become the center for cancer and all those other. We can actually defeat diseases in this country.
And when you are speaking about that, one of the big emphasis, I'm sure, as you grow to become a cardiac center, would also be what you talked about earlier: access,
absolutely,
and affordability. Because sometimes when you think heart, you think, wow, millions are going to go down, you know. So how you become a center, at the same time keep up the virtue of affordability. We'll talk about that shortly.
Yes.
But just hold on to that as we, ask Dr. Naomi about what you mentioned a waiting list, right? And they would want to know how do you, as you do the operations of the children, how do you prioritize who is going to go first and who is going to remain online?
Okay, that is actually quite professional because as you look at the case, you can get a child with a small hole, which actually does not affect the growth. Some holes can close spontaneously. God has a way of also protecting his flock. So some do close, others you buy time and it will close in future. Others it won't close. So when you know this will not close, then don't, waste time on them because that baby needs to grow. The agony, just like Professor has said, of those parents is too much, including the community and others who don't believe that you can actually touch a heart and that child walks home. So there's also a bit of stigma in the community. Some believe you are told the heart, no, forget it. But it's happening. Many have been treated, and just like he said, there are those who come and actually have a new cut. There are some who don't get a cut. They just get what we call pinhole surgery, which we just go through a big blood vessel from the leg. We get to the heart and fix it. And when those children leave, nobody believes they were treated because there is no scar. There is no evidence. But the only evidence is that baby becomes slightly more active than how they were. It is a drastic change.
When you're still at it, Dr. Harry, I'm just thinking that you being in the operation space, operational theater, the kind of maybe delight and joy that you see when you fix a heart, maybe some experiences, some testimony that is really memorable to you that you can be able to tell our viewers.
Yes, there are many because, when we are light, they're like,
I know there could be many, but there's some that stand out,
Oh,
just maybe one of the things, because I'm just imagining you are right there, there's this baby who comes.
Let me tell you, because I may not record them, but children are very interesting. Even before you recognize them, they come with their hearts open. They hug you. Even before the mother gets, and it's like, no, stop disturbing the daktari. The baby is so happy. Even if they don't focalize it, they are telling you, changed my life.
Oh, yeah.
They can play about, and once that baby hugs you, it's out to play with the others. That is evidence enough. Yes.
That's so interesting. It's just that warm because what the opportunity does is really give.
Yes, you've given them a new
whole
lease
list of life. And very few things are sad, or sadder, or more sad than a sad baby,
Absolutely.
And when our baby just beams and can now play with the rest. I mean, it's about, there's this whole matter heart run. It sounds like it's more over just in pumping life into otherwise really sad spaces.
And that's why I believe there is no private baby in this country. All children are public goods. And therefore, it's incumbent upon us, adults, to make sure that our children are well, they are taken care of regardless of whether they are poor, which community they come from, it matters not. All children are public assets, and therefore we have to take care of those children regardless of who they are.
Professor, when you're still at it, I want to stay on the line, like staying online, the waiting list. It's kind of a difficult place to bring this this subject, but we must talk about it everywhere. Corruption, and staying online. There are all these people who would come, and there are cases that are deserving, or cases that you see. It's a difficult process to just say you'll wait and you go, right? How, in terms of integrity? Because you cannot serve all the babies, I'm sure, that are brought to you. Can you tell our viewers about the aspect of integrity in the process.
Absolutely.
And also in the management of funds that you receive
Absolutely.
from the run.
Yeah, we have a very meticulous process of identifying before we even get the doctors in the process. Part of the thing what we do, we go to the communities. We do camps. This year we're doing 11 counties where we go take an average of 40 doctors and nurses and staff. They go spend 2 days in a community, and we tell the primary schools around, bring your children so we can start looking for those children with heart disease. Because sometimes some of these kids have no idea, some of the parents have no idea. All they know is, my child used to play a lot, but now this child runs from here to there, she's out of breath, I don't know what's going on with the child. Now, that's a very clear sign of rheumatic heart disease, because the child is not able to run. From my lay understanding of rheumatic heart disease, when that sore throat is not treated, you see me, I look at it from the other layman's person. And you see, with the treatment, the bug goes away. Without the treatment, the bug stays in the system. Finally, I believe the bug ends up in the lungs, somehow into the valves, into the valve of their heart. And from how I understand, when the blood comes from one chamber, it has to be pumped to the other chamber and has to pass through this valve.
Liver flows in one direction. But when a valve is damaged, it does not close properly. So it leaves a gap. So the blood comes back. When it comes back to where it came from, then the heart is like a vacuum. It expands.
Okay.
When it expands, it's using a lot of activity to do that. So this baby energy is pumped into the heart rather than being
Into the
diverted
body.
to where it should be. If that happens again, the same valve is damaged. So sometimes you find them just open like this. It can also be made to thicken and it doesn't open. So it's like a dam. We've all grown up in the villages, and you see the way if you close a dam, a liver into a dam, what happens? It expands.
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
So that again is a problem. And those are children. Sometimes even when you put them to bed, that's when they cough. They may even spit blood because the lungs are quite congested with blood.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, quite interesting.
See, we say that when the parents understand that, that river is affected by the sore throat, and therefore it gets constricted, and the water is not going through, which means it's not going to the rest of the body. There's no energy for this child to run. And that's why when we do the camps and we bring these children, we are able to identify those with heart problems. Those are referred to the hospital. The other way that we do, we also get referrals from all hospitals across the country. From Moi Referral Hospital, all other hospitals across the entire country for pediatric cardiology issues. And they all come to Mata. We also have our own doctors who are also cardiologists, and they see patients who also have. So it's a combination of all this. Us going to the community and looking for these children, and then liaising with the other hospitals across the country to bring the children who have those heart diseases, and especially for those procedures that most of them can only be done at Mata. So when the children come, we are able now to give them to the cardiologists. The cardiologists are looking at them. Our staff is also looking at the family background, because we have to establish that you actually are
meticulous
poor.
process.
It's meticulous. Our social workers are able to call the homes, the neighbors, and all that, because what we don't want is this money we have set aside for the poor. Then you can afford that 400,000, but another child cannot even afford 100,000. To make sure that that money goes to the children that are actually deserving of the operations.
To add to that, even the chief.
And the church.
The chief and the church, and because that's really exactly what has made Mata Heart Run over the years, gain more and more support because of that aspect of integrity.
Absolutely.
Professor, as you talk about, they bring the children. you're actually making a very biblical statement. When Jesus said, "Let all the children come to me." Let them come to me.
Absolutely.
And here they come from all hospitals, from all backgrounds, and you say, "Bring them."
We are the Mother of Mercy Hospital.
Misericordia.
The Mother of Mercy Hospital.
Yeah, and that mercy. Let's talk a little bit about that. And Mater Hospital being, and you can begin with you, Dr. Tari, about Mater being, a mission hospital, a mission-based hospital, and so really driven by lots of values.
I would say because we see those. Let me see like the nuns. Actually, whenever we go for a camp, because I've participated, we go with them, the Sisters of Mercy. We start from there. And Mater, yes, has really contributed to this program. As we speak right now, Mater is the hospital for children. Yes, and as he said, the other hospital, you forgot to mention the self-referrals. Those who just walk there because this hospital. And I know I will not be turned back. That they clearly know. The people I meet, may it be the doctors, may it be everyone, because once I finish with them, like he says, I hand over to the next phase. And the next phase will probably be assessed how they can, the level of their
of
finances,
their need,
yes, their need, and then the casket starts.
You've mentioned about the sisters and
yes.
and how they are involved in,
they are very, very
in the process,
in the
because
process.
you're looking at the virtues,
yes,
being a mission hospital, and how that also are part
that
of the
I can
work
even
that's-
attest that even those nuns themselves, I have seen some take a baby and say, I will assist this one. I had one from Nyeri. And one of the nuns took it upon herself. I don't know where she got the fundings from. Beside even, and that baby was treated. And this is a baby whose mother is mentally unstable. So stays with the grandmother. And does not even actually know the mother. Is the grandmother. So very moving case.
And as you speak that, you can almost hear that every child is a story.
Yes, every child is a story. And that nun was responsible, and that child has been treated. And whenever the grandmother brings the baby, you can actually see the baby is smiling, and it's a different baby. Yes.
Yeah, because those values sometimes make a whole difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Being under the Sisters of Mercy,
Yes.
Which are sisters within the Catholic Church, the mercy values. We have mercy, we have integrity, we have compassion, respect for life. We are guided by those very ethos of the Catholic Church and the sisters themselves. And because we serve with integrity and compassion, and we are merciful, then we cannot turn a child away, because it's a creation of God, and we are there to preserve life. I have literally seen, there was a child who came last year. The mother came, I think it was 2 years old. She came holding the baby, and she just gave it to us. She said, "Here, I'm tired." I think she ended up being your patient. I believe she ended up having a heart condition. And I remember I was not in the office. They called me and they told me, this baby that has just been dropped at the hospital, the mother is tired, she has tried all she can, and she has given up. So the question I was asking, do they have NHIF? No. Where are they from? Wherever they were from. And I told them, now take them to the cardiology clinic to be checked. And sure enough, within 2 weeks, that child was out of the hospital. No, within 1 week, actually, the child was gone. And the miracle of medicine nowadays, that these doctors can get that patient, that little child who is so sick, and in 3 days, that child is back at home, they are healthy, they're running around, they're enjoying themselves, just because this program is there. And that's why we tell people, when you see that child come from the primary school or secondary school with that form that says donate for the Mater Heart Run, you are doing that to touch a child's heart. That's actually our motto. I touched a child's heart. And when you touch a child's heart, you just restored an entire family.
And I think that's an important point, and I think it's good for viewers to actually take note of that, because sometimes we get these children who come to our homes from their schools, and they're given these forms, and you feel like, sort of seeing the spirit behind it. You see a child asking for money, but from our program on this Spotlight edition, is that when you see that child come with that form, don't see the child, just see the cause, and therefore please generously support, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and because it's from what we're gathering here, it's a really wonderful initiative that keeps growing over the years.
Not only that, what I tell people is that girl who comes and gets her heart treated at Mata, without treatment, either that child could have had a very poor quality of life or ended up dying prematurely. That means when you help that child, you have ensured continuity of life. Should be a mother, should be a wife, should be a grandmother, should be now you see the difference that you have made in the whole lineage of that person. That young boy who comes in sick and is treated, without which probably could have had a very poor quality of life or lose life in the course of growing up. Now, he will be a wonderful husband and a wonderful father and a wonderful grandfather. So you restore families by just helping that child. Also, we have also noticed over the years that illness splits families. When a child is very sick, sometimes it becomes a mother's child. And I've seen many husbands abandon their children and their wives because the child is very sick, and that child is consuming all the funds that they have. And you see a mother coming, a single mother, my husband left me, I have this sick child, what can you do to help me? That's what we do. That's what we do at Mata.
And it's, when you talk about all that, team of doctors from Slovakia, from all those places, plus the local effort. One can't help but hear a top of the range kind of operation, and bringing together what we can call, religion and professionalism.
Absolutely.
Can you comment about that, Dr. Harry? Religion and professionalism, just that marriage.
Even when we are seeing them, even when you evaluate them, and you tell them, we will do our part, but remember, God heals. I'll do what I professionally know. But by the end of it all, you cannot leave God. So when they come, just like he says, some of them, the parents will actually have separated just because this is a very stressful issue. When we bring in all this, actually even in our own labs, we still have music, which is biblical. Even as we are working, we know somebody somewhere is giving us the strength. Because you cannot do these things and assume, I am a big doctor, I will manage. No. The same. Every morning, even before we start cases, you say sometimes, let's pray. Because you may be facing a very hard case. But with the strength of God, things will be easy. So that we cannot leave out. No. No. And
you see, for us as a hospital, God is at the center of what we do. As a community of believers, we believe God endows us with different abilities in order to serve his purpose. I am where I am today because God has made it possible for me to have a good mind, to be able to run things and make it possible for his creation to be able to benefit. He gave Daktari that beautiful mind, that wonderful hands that can open and touch that child's heart and fix it so it can perpetuate the goodness of God. And therefore, for us as a hospital and as a community of believers, God is at the center of everything that we do. At Mata, we pipe our messages and music all over our rooms, in the theaters, everywhere you go, we have this message that's coming everywhere throughout the hospital. So people can be able to experience the presence of God. even in places where they would expect the humans to do the miracles. And they do miracles, but because they do those because they are empowered by our Creator to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why we are a Christ-centered institution. So everything we do is about serving the common person. It's about serving that God-given ability and using it for the benefit of others.
Amazing. And when you hear about professionalism on one hand, then religious inspiration on the other, and that coming together in that kind of way, one feels that, wow, this is quite something to support.
And that's what's missing in this country. Professionalism and spiritualism.
And here we see the merging of the two.
That convergence means, one, you're going to be ethical, you're going to hold the best professional standards, you're going to do whatever you can to save that life without playing God. Because only God takes up to a certain level. And I'm sure with Daktari, sometimes I'm sure you see patients and you say, God, now give me strength to fix this. Because it's complicated.
It's complicated.
And then inwardly, you ask God, now, you chose me to do this. Give me the strength and show me the way to do it.
Sounds sometimes like you have movie situations, That's
But yes, you can see the case can be fixed. But here you have two parents who are moving apart. Yours is not to make them separate, it's to try and bring them together because they are the parents. Where will this child be left?
So it's kind of a holistic approach to this. And would want to know how the viewers can be able to support and participate in the Mata Hatran 2019.
In several ways. One, for those viewers who are near a primary school that is participating in the Mata Hatran or secondary school, there'll be a child who will come home with a form that says, the Mata Hatran, I touch a baby's heart. For them, what we ask is to complete that form and then use M-Pesa pay bill number 488,999, 488,999, and then where it says the account number, they can put their name or the name of the school where that child is coming from. That's for those people with the schools that our children are bringing in home. For the other viewers, it doesn't matter where you are in this country. As long as you have access to M-Pesa, you can support a child for a heart condition who needs your help and needs every shilling we can be able to raise. And you can do that through our pay bill number 488,999, 488,999. Once you enter that, it's going to ask you for the account number. And the account number, please put your name so we can acknowledge you. It doesn't matter whether it's 10 shillings, 50 shillings, 100 shillings. A million starts with a shilling. 900,998 or 99 shillings is not a million unless we get that 1 shilling makes a difference.
And I'm sure viewers are hearing this, and I'm sure that in the course of the history of the Hatran, you've also enjoyed the hospitality, and the kindness and the generosity of Kenyan people.
Absolutely, and we are so grateful because the things we do with this program, the Mata Hatran and the cardiac program, we would not be able to do that without the generosity of Kenyans. The more than 300 young people we helped last year, we could not have done it without the Kenyans. The more than almost 600 we are going to do this year, we cannot do them without the support we got from Kenyans last year. And that's why we're calling upon everybody to come and help. This year, the Mata Hatran will be held on May 25th in 9 counties, actually 10 counties. We are going to be in Nairobi, where in Nairobi we will be flagged off by none other but our world champion, Kipchoge. Eliud.
No better man. Better man. Yes.
Eliud Kipchoge has been a supporter of our program. I was with him this last Wednesday at Isuzu, where it was being appreciated, and it was all over the news. And after he had the discussion, he was touched by the impact he made last year, because he's the one who launched with the First Lady last year. But now this year, we'll have him do it along with other friends. So we'll do it in Nairobi. We are going to do it in Mombasa. We are going to do it in Meru. We are going to do it in Nyeri. We are going to do it in Nakuru, Eldoret, Kisumu, Kapkatet Stadium in Bomet. That is for both the people from Bomet County and Kericho County. We are also doing it in Kakamega. Did I forget another one? In Kakamega. So we are in all those locations where we're telling our people, come out, support the Matahatran, because you're going to touch a child's heart. There are children today who are going to be alive tomorrow and the day after because you're giving today. It's all about saving lives and restoring families. So you go to the local Naivas, Tuskies, Woolies, and I think Alitos, and buy a mother t-shirt. It's 1,000 shillings. And that 1,000 shillings, when you add up, it adds up to enough that can support a child go through a heart operation, which otherwise they could not have afforded.
Great. Professor, thank you so much. And I'm sure that our viewers, having heard the spirit behind the Matahatran, that we can't do anything else. We just have to just support this, because it is a wonderful initiative. Professor?
No, for the 25th, we are going to be at KICC. We have done it at KICC throughout. Last year, we had more than 40,000 runners at KICC. We hope to get about 60,000 runners this year.
Okay.
Then in all the other 9 counties that I mentioned, we all start between, KICC, we start around 7. So we start arriving about 6:30 because we want to finish early, so that the streets can be opened, because you know they have to close the streets for us. In other counties, the same. So please put on that mother t-shirt. Let's touch a child's heart. Let's save a child today, so that they can have a future with a family, so they can be a grandmother, a grandfather, a father, a husband, and a wife, and we build this country.
And also a pediatric cardiologist.
Absolutely.
Professor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Dr. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very informative, very inspiring.
Thank you.
And viewers, you know, Jesus said, as we have referenced here, let the children come to me. And the Bible continues to say, and he blessed them. Now, some of the children who come to Jesus are not children who are whole. They are children who are unwell. And Jesus says, come to me. And through the Matahatran, we are able to, by the Spirit of God and through the blessing of medicine, are able to receive children and also bless them with the gift of wholeness. And so as you participate in the Matahatran, you are right caught up in that scripture. Let the children come to me, and you become a blessing to them. So participate generously. This has been Spotlight. Do have a good time.